I didn't do this all at once. I apologize, but the logistics for that would be crazy and that would be madness. I do need to live a life. But I did do this over 28 days. Why? Why did I do this? The idea stems from our recommended daily step count, 10,000. That number originates from Japan, and a researcher found that people on average were doing about 4,000 per day, and that 10,000 could improve general health. So they used that information to market a pedometer. And that was back in 1964, so the numbers kind of stuck around. There's been studies done on this, and although I have no issues with the studies, I just like to question things. Question everything, really. And my question is, what if I did 20,000? Not to lose weight, not to get fitter, I just wanted to see what happened if I doubled the amount. So a quick disclaimer here, I'm in generally pretty good shape. I work as a personal trainer, I walk often, and I was averaging about 15,000 steps a day before I did begin this. So if you're someone who walks or does far less movement, maybe a more sensible action is moving it up to 5,000 or 10,000 steps a day. Okay, so let's solidify what I did exactly. This began on August 2nd, 2021, and I completed this on August 29th, 2021. I walked a total of 460.78 kilometers, 610,362 steps. According to Fitbit and what it determines, I spent 82.3 hours in active zones and burned 98,669 calories throughout this time period. Some other interesting bits. My resting heart rate began at 50 BPM and got as low as 46. I started at 77 kilograms and now weigh 74. Make of that what you want. If those numbers mean something to you, great. Numbers are contextual and are really only relevant to the person that kind of does it. So those numbers may sound astronomical to some people or pretty mild to others. To me, they're just numbers. So I think we've got some more important things to talk about. I logged my experience throughout this time, just on my phone, just as I was walking, just any thoughts I had, just generally to note how I was feeling. Let me show you what it was mostly like. Riveting stuff. I know. But that's what it was. One foot in front of the other. That's what walking is. So if I was to make a video of just me walking, that would be in a different part of YouTube. But one thing I can say is that the first 2 weeks were agonizing. I have just passed the first 20,000 steps and I'm feeling pretty good. It is 3:22 p.m. I don't know how people vlog with big heavy cameras. I'm literally holding my arm out with my phone and it is burning like crazy. My legs have been hurting. I'm not some kind of superhuman where I'm getting up every day and my legs aren't hurting. Not my hips. I'm kind of feeling it around my knees, my calves, feet are a little sore and tight. It is Thursday of week 2. That makes it day 11, I think. And every single day, I wake up with a battle in my head going, how am I going to get 2.5 hours of walking in today? I'm sitting at 13,200. Oh, and I've been walking for almost 2 hours, a bit slower than normal. But it's like, okay, I need to figure out and time, how long it's going to take me to get another 7,000. My legs were spent, my calves were in pain every morning, and my body just said, do not move. And surprisingly, pushing through did something interesting for my body. At around day 15, I can't feel my legs. They're not sore. I did yoga last night, and my calves and my glutes, any movement that we did that was related to that, I could not feel. Like it was just nothing. So my legs are I have no idea what they're on right now. One day I was in hell, and the next I was in bliss. I would wake up and go for a bike ride 30 or 45 minutes in the morning, and then still be able to do my 20,000 steps fine throughout the day. I would put in a workout throughout the day. My legs were just there. I don't know what that means, but they were just there. They were just so used to the motions of walking that they were just going, and it kind of felt incredible. It was really weird. Personally, I feel like that's, my muscles are so fatigued that they just weren't able to push in that maximum capacity anymore. Look, they may sound like benefits to you and they may not, but one benefit that I can certainly define is what happened in the last week. It's Wednesday of the last week. We are almost there. We are so close. I still can't really feel my glutes or my calves, but now my knees starting to hurt again. I don't know what it is, but I'm just going to try and keep doing what I'm doing, getting through each day, 20,000 steps, and we'll see. But I definitely have increased muscle size in my calves and my glutes. Interesting, I didn't really measure it, nor was that a thing that I was going for, but hey, it's a nice benefit, but we're so close. Getting those 20,000 steps a day in, which is about 15 kilometers of walking. And for me, that takes about 2 or 3 hours of movement. And quickly, for anyone that's actually interested in how I was able to get that in throughout the day, look, I'm a personal trainer and I'm a creative generally, so I have time throughout the day to do things. But I would get up super early, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, and go for an hour walk. That would yield me about 7,000 steps. Dedicated to the cause. Depending on how active I was throughout the day, another hour walk mid-morning would give me another 7,000 steps. And if I knew I was going to be moving throughout the day, I would rack up that 6,000 just from general movement. Otherwise, I would have to go out again in like mid-afternoon just to wrap up any steps I didn't have, or just do laps around the kitchen table, which is like currently doing laps of a kitchen here in my parents' house to try and get 20,000 steps. I'm at 19,400. And anyway, that's a lot of time. And that's a lot of time for me. I'm not someone who listens to much music or podcasts or spends hours and hours and hours on social media every day. I do like to read books, but generally before I go to bed or when I've got time throughout the day as like its own thing. So I'm not someone that's always being stimulated. I use my walking and running time to let my brain just reflect, process, assess, and just do what it's got to do, because I feel like we're in such a stimulated world today that just taking an hour out for yourself, 30 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is, just to let your mind get out whatever it's trying to get out and just think through things. I think it's important. I think it's severely undervalued. But this time to think about events, projects I'm working on, videos to make, to me, I don't even know what cost you can put on that. Like what price you can put on that, having 2 or 3 hours a day to just let the brain go. A lot of things that I was thinking about, you'll see, and a lot of things that I was thinking about, you won't ever see. Sometimes I'm thinking about creativity, sometimes I'm thinking about philosophy, sometimes I'm thinking about an event, sometimes I'm not thinking about anything. And I just like to jot my notes down in an app and come back to them in periods of time just to look back and see what I was thinking. Just because. I don't know, maybe a thought one day will lead into something else the next. I'm not sure, but it doesn't take much to just go, oh, that's an interesting thought. I'm going to note that down. And that kind of process was at a height during this walking time. Creativity and thinking are all active tasks. Problem solving, it's an active task. It's something that evolves and moves. And pairing that kind of process with walking, which is also an active movement, evolving task, the body's in motion, the mind's in motion, and you kind of just snowball into these sometimes expansive ideas, and sometimes you'll figure out a solution, or sometimes you'll come up with more questions. But pairing the motion of the brain with the motion of the body, it's like an unstoppable combo. So look, what am I suggesting? This is just my experience, and I'm just talking about it. As far as I'm concerned, this is the last thing that I kind of expected going into this. Like, I just did it. I wasn't expecting mental clarity. I wasn't expecting stronger legs or anything like that, or cardio. I just wanted to do it, and whatever happened, happened. And I've just found that this has been really interesting because humans, look, we're about efficiency, and not everything needs to be efficient. But when you're coming up with creative ideas, it's a novel behavior. And if I could just flick it on like a switch and go, give me an idea, wouldn't that just make life easy? Like, I need to fix this thing. Cool, got an answer. This, for me, even though it's 2 or 3 hours a day, it was efficient in creating ideas. Like, it might have taken 2 or 3 weeks of getting into it, but then my brain kind of let go of whatever it was that it needed, and it started generating ideas. And I was like, whoa, where is all of this coming from? This is so bizarre. If one walk can generate more ideas than I have in the last year, then that is more efficient to me. So look, I am a personal trainer, and I do these experiments on myself because I'm curious, and I want to lead from experience, and not literature or studies. So, first things first, how do you walk? Walking is simply putting one leg in front of the other and balancing on one leg one at a time. There are some important things here to note. You want to use the big muscles. These are your glutes. Here, these are your calves. Here is your hamstring. Here are your quadriceps. You want to be pushing off with these big muscles at the back. Make sure you can feel them to propel you forward. If you're just using the lower muscles, they're going to take a lot of strain and stress. And after you've pushed on with those big muscles, you want to follow through with your calf and then your big toe. Those two things are very important to walking. And look, I'm sure you've been walking the majority of your life, but the deal with today is shoes inhibit a lot of that movement for us. And look, shoes are great. It's protection against the ground and it's what we need, but shoes kind of take out a lot of the functional movement that humans naturally do with their feet. Our feet are like our hands. Have you ever had gloves on and tried to pick up your phone or even do anything? It can be very frustrating. And even when I put oven mitts on to get something out of the oven, it's just kind of I want to get these mitts off me straight away. We don't keep doing things with the mitts. We take them off, we do other things with our hands because that's what the hands are for. And it's kind of like what shoes do. They inhibit the feeling and they restrict the movement and what you can feel from your foot. It's almost like wearing a cast. If you've ever had a cast around your arm or know someone that has, the whole point of it is to restrict movement because it's broken or it needs to heal. Again, it's kind of what shoes do. A lot of shoes are very, very rigid and they're like a cast for your foot. They keep it in motion and they don't let it move. So when you do go to move, you're much more prone to injury because it hasn't been moving in that way. And look, I'm not saying to ditch your shoes. I'm just letting you know what they're doing. It's your choice. I personally wear barefoot shoes and I could talk way more about that subject, but I'll leave it there. Second, don't overdo it. Listen to your body and take it slow. I increased my steps by about 1.5 times. So take that 12,000, bring it up to 20,000, and it's kind of like roughly 1.5. And so if you're doing 5,000 steps a day, that's like kind of bring it up to about 8,000 a day. So context is really important. Don't just jump to 20,000. Start at what's achievable and realistic. Aim for that first clearing and not the summit. Because if you don't hit that first clearing and stay there, you aren't getting all the way to the top. Third, enjoy it. It's time for you. Plan to think about something, or plan to think about nothing. Just look around and experience what's around you. The trees, the sky, the clouds, the birds, the cars driving by, other people, whatever it is. We don't need to be switched on every moment of every day. So just take a breather and go for a walk. I hope you found some value in that. I definitely did. And if you liked it, be sure to give me a like. If you liked it even more, why not a subscribe? Or even a comment, or nothing at all. I mean, you can do whatever you like. I'm not your boss. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you soon. Oh, shit. Oh, this thing is so hot. Oh.